Damn!
Oh my goodness, this thing is hideous. Good morning, folks. Today we are back in Car Mechanic 2021 and we are going to rebuild this Bolt Roulette. This car is based on a 1970 Camaro. Got this one for a good deal from an auction for $5,000, and today we're going to see how much money we get for it when fully restored. Stay tuned. Alright, our repair and teardown is complete. Let's get into the restoration. So this one is a complete restoration. Like, I've taken all the components off the car, seen what I could repair, and kind of put it back together. So keep in mind on the repairs for this car, in terms of parts, we actually didn't have much luck at all. We ended up scrapping the bulk of the car. So while it was a great purchase price, the amount of repairs or the amount of components that we just had to toss out or salvage are going to be quite high. We're going to keep this one stock. So in terms of this car, again, like I mentioned, this is a 1970 Camaro, pretty slick vehicle. This engine specifically is the V8 2-carb overhead valve. So nothing fantastic. We could definitely upgrade with performance parts. That might be a later project. Maybe we'll do another one with a full 3-star performance parts retro. Basically what we wanted to do here is rebuild the suspension, rebuild the exhaust, complete the back suspension, and then look at the engine bay. This car here, not too bad in terms of the overall deal, buying it for $5,000, but basically what we want to determine is how much money we can make out of this. So I'll keep track of, total cost repairs, total cost invested, and what our actual profit is. We need to consider how much money we're putting into the car, but basically with any type of rebuild in this game, you can turn a decent profit. So my character is only level 24, but I have put most of my parts into either assembly or bolting speed, as well as any of the financial perks. So discounts in shops, luck, all that kind of stuff is basically going to help turn you more profit as you get through the game. So as we're going through this, keep in mind, this restoration, we have purchased virtually 90% of the parts back. We're going to have to invest a fair amount into this car. And I chose this car specifically because actually this was a car my dad had as a kid. So I remember when I was a kid, my dad was rebuilding a Camaro. They actually have the livery in the game. That particular Camaro, it was a 78, but it was painted yellow, had black stripes just like they've got here. Honestly looked damn near identical. And one of the coolest things about that car is that it had the V8, which just sounded like a beast driving up the driveway. Now, he didn't have the SS, he just had the base version, but that's what he chose to restore. It was great. And then it was miraculously sold before I got my driver's license, so I never got a chance to actually drive it, which is unfortunate, but I'd kill for a vehicle like that. So this car is kind of sentimental. In terms of this build here, it's not identical, obviously, but it is pretty close. They've done a great job in the game of making things relatively realistic. And honestly, if you enjoy cars, it's just a fantastic distraction. It's a great single-player game where you can go and you can pick and choose what projects you do. And honestly, it's been quite enjoyable. I put a fair amount of time into it already. A complete restoration of a vehicle tends to take anywhere from like 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how many repairs you're doing, if you're taking it all down. But that is my preferred approach. So on most of these builds, you can make back, usually I would say on average, kind of like $40,000 to $50,000. Obviously, the more expensive the vehicle, the better you do. I had repaired a M8, like the sedan, and fully upgraded it with performance parts, and that one, cleared about, probably a sale of about $100,000, which was great. So let me know if there's any vehicles that you guys would like to see, or if there's any vehicles specifically I should be focusing on to turn max profit. The goal of this video is to showcase, one, what is the process like for the rebuilding and the restoration, and doing that through a time lapse so it's a bit quicker for you guys, so you don't have to, hang tight for a 30 or 40 minute video. But more so just to gather how much can you expect to spend on parts on a complete restoration, what can you get for a price from the auction or through the junkyard, and then what does that translate into for total profit as you go through the game. So let me know what you guys think of the format of the video. I jam-packed the disassembly and also condensed the construction here, just in order to save time, but also kind of get through some content. For future projects, we've got a police cruiser, basically a Crown Vic, that I want to restore. Now, the debate there is I've put performance parts in it. I've actually got it listed as a supercharged engine, which is fantastic. I'm just debating if I should spend some of the tokens or the credits and upgrade it to 2 or 3 star. I don't know if it's really worth it. I might save that for a Lambo or a Cobra or something. And another car we've got in the docket is a Bolt Cape, which I believe is based on an old Chevy Impala. Again, 1970s kind of muscle car build. Likely we'll do a stock build on that one, and again, just to see how much profit you can expect when you're actually doing these builds. So the engine actually went pretty good. Again, we only had 13 parts that were actually salvageable. We had to purchase a lot for this one. And really, aside from the push rods and the rocker arms, these engine builds are actually pretty simplistic and straightforward. Now, one thing that I love about the menus of this game is that you can actually easily buy parts while you're completing your restoration. Now, for some reason, they didn't include that in the engine option as well. So the engine builds tend to be a bit clunky. What I've been doing instead is just creating a list, or just adding to the shopping list and just exiting out of the actual engine stand and just rebuilding the engine that way. I'm sure that there'll be future enhancements down the line, or, you know, if you're a PC player, there's likely mods that could speed this up already. So let's talk numbers. In total, we have spent $13,426 on parts. On the engine, we spent another $4,981. Again, that is with our 15% discount from our perk. That brings the total repairs to $18,407. For this restoration, we were only able to repair 18 body or drivetrain components and 13 engine components, totaling 31. So that means that the bulk of these purchases were done out of the store, which not ideal. With the low purchase price of $4,000 for the car, you can still turn a decent profit. Now, it's also important to note for this build, I didn't take anything from a warehouse, so I have a ton of components stored up in there, but I didn't use them because I wanted to see, for a relatively new player, again without the discount, what would that total be. The great news is that if you take out the 50% discount, these parts would have cost roughly around $21,500. So you're still going to make a fair amount of profit if you do a full restoration on the car, provided you have the time. Again, if you salvage parts out of the junkyard, or if your repair abilities are higher, obviously that increases your profit, but it's not limited at all for a newer player or lower level player to go through and start complete restorations. It's likely the best way to make money in the game. I loved how this build turned out. In total, like I mentioned, we're gonna spend roughly about 20 grand on the car, 18,000 and change. Bought for 4,000. We're gonna sell it for, it looks like we're gonna sell this thing for a total of $63,000 or a $45,000 profit, which is just incredible. Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. If there's a car that you would actually like to see rebuilt, or if there's some aspect of the game you would like me to focus on for another video, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks. Have a great day.